Let us learn to use Hibernate template in our Spring application. Spring Hibernate template is a helper class that simplifies Hibernate data access code. It automatically converts Hibernate exceptions into data access exceptions. The central method of Hibernate template is execute that accepts Hibernate callback. The execute method provides Hibernate session handling. It means neither the Hibernate callback implementation nor the calling code needs to explicitly care about retrieving closing Hibernate sessions or handling session lifecycle exceptions. The Hibernate template is instantiated using session factory either in configuration class or in XML configuration. Use @configuration class. We create Hibernate template like this. Use the session factory and create a bean. If you are using XML configuration, create a bean like this. Pass the session factory reference. We have to create the bean for org spring framework.orm.hibernate5 Hibernate template. Let us know some of its methods. Get method returns the persistent instance of the given entity class with the given identifier or null if not found. Load all returns all persistent instances of the given entity class. Save persist the given transient instance. Update the given persistent instance associating with the current Hibernate session. Delete the given persistent instance. So these are some of its methods. Here I will create a CRUD operation using Hibernate template and will use get load all, save to add data, and update to update data, and will delete the data using delete method. So first of all, I will start from my Maven file form.xml. I am using Spring Boot Starter parent 2.6.3 version. We need the dependency for Spring Boot Starter data GPA, and I will read data from property file. So I am using commons dbcp2, and I am connecting here MySQL, and I am using MySQL version 8. So I am using MySQL connector version 8. Okay, this was form.xml file. This will use Spring 5 and Hibernate 5 and MySQL version 8. In MySQL, I am creating a table. Person, it has 3 columns: PID, name, city. For these 3 columns, I will use Hibernate template to perform the CRUD operation. Now I will show you what is the properties. This is the URL, root and password, some Hibernate configurations, HBM to reveal data to update, show SQL, true. Now find the configuration file. First of all, create a config file with the direct configuration annotation. Use enable transaction management to enable the transaction, and to enable stereotype annotations, use @component scan. I have created here a database.properties file. To read this file, I am using property source annotation and reading my database.properties file. In database.properties file, we have some values that I will read. Okay. So first of all, I am creating the data source here. I am reading data source database URL, root, its username and password. All things I am accessing from um, database.properties file which I have created here. I am reading all these three data: database.url, database.root, database.password. Look here, I am creating here basic data source object and setting data to this. Set URL, set username, set password, and hence I get the object of basic data source. And this is the bean that has been created for the data source. I will use this data source to create session factory. This is our session factory. Here I am using local session factory bean. Assign them data source. This will return the data source. Get data source method is this one, that will return the data source. I have an entity class that will map our table. In the map, in the table I have PID, name, city. So the entity class I have PID, name, city, and I have created the entity class. And this is in package com.concretepage entity. That's why I'm scanning here package to scan for entity classes com.concretepage.entity. Now set Hibernate properties. I have created the Hibernate properties. Let us see what is here. In Hibernate properties, I have two things: HBM to detail.auto, show SQL, and if you want to add more, you can add. In this way, my Hibernate properties are getting ready. Use properties, Java properties, and I'm creating this properties object. The key is hibernate.hbm2.ddl.auto and hibernate.show._sql, and getting data from getting its value from that database.properties file. In this way, my Hibernate properties are ready. I am configuring to local session factory bean using set Hibernate properties method. So first of all, I have created the object of local session factory bean. I have set the data source, then package to scan for entity classes, then Hibernate properties if I have, and then calling the after properties set method. This will then I will get the object of local session factory bean, and in this way our session factory is created. We will use this session factory to create Hibernate template. This is our Hibernate template. call the HibernateTemplate constructor and pass session factory that we have created here. Okay, I have also configured the transaction manager. This is Hibernate transaction manager. Create the object of Hibernate transaction manager and pass the session factory, and it should also be enable transaction manager that will handle the transaction management. In this way, we have configured and we have got the Hibernate template. Then what I did, I created the data source. I created the Hibernate properties method just to get the Hibernate properties. Created the bean for Hibernate transaction management manager. Created the bean for session factory, and then created the bean for Hibernate template. In this way, we got our Hibernate template, and now we will use this Hibernate template in our DAO classes for the database transaction. I have created the DAO. Here I am doing read, add, delete and update operation. So reading data here, I am calling the Hibernate template.get method. Okay, and this is the ID by passing, and this is the type of object that will return. In this way, when we call the get person by ID, we will get the person object for that ID. In the same way, I have one more method that will return all the persons from the database. All data. Load all will return all the data of person class type. We will get the list of person. So these two are for read operation. Now let's add the data. Call the Hibernate template.save method. Create the person object and pass it. In the same way, we can update the data. Call the Hibernate template.update. Get the object by Hibernate template get, and then that object need to be updated for some columns, and then we will call the update method that will save the data corresponding to the given ID. Now let's delete the data. Call the Hibernate template.delete and pass get the object by passing the ID, and then that object need to be passed to delete, and then that data will be deleted. That person will be deleted from the database. So in this way, we have used here Hibernate template.get, Hibernate template.load, Hibernate template.save, Hibernate template.update, Hibernate template.delete. I have already discussed here. Get returns the persistent instance of a given entity class with the given identifier. Load all returns all persistent instances of the given entity class. Save persist the given transient instance. Update the given persistent instance associating with the current Hibernate session. Delete the given persistent instance. In this way, our DAO is ready and we have performed a CRUD operation. Our DAO is annotated with transactional, and I am using here at the repository annotation because this class is performing database related operations. Now let's test it. I am doing just calling our get methods. First of all, I'm getting the object of DAO, then creating a person object, setting PID, set name CT, then calling the add person. This will add. In the same way, I'm creating another person and adding. Okay. Here I am getting. Here I have done the add operation. Now let's do the get operation. Get the person ID, person by ID. This is ID. Got the person, and I am just printing here. Update. The P1 is this. In that P1, I am just updating data, and then again calling the update person. That will call the HibernateTemplate.update. In the same way, get all persons I am calling and printing the data, and here I am deleting both the person with the ID 100 and 200. In this way, our application is ready. Now I am running the application. We can see that our application is running. This method has been called add person. Get person by ID. Query is running here. We got the data here. This is load all, calling delete. In this way, we can see that our application is running and we are getting the data. And in this way, we can use Hibernate template. One thing I would like to say that if we use Spring 6, then we will get error. Suppose I am using Spring 6 3.3.5 parent. The error will be for now it is used for Jakarta, not Javax. So we will get this error. The entity we have created, that should be Jakarta. Okay. We can fix replacing Javax with Jakarta. But still we will get error because of Hibernate criteria class. Let's see. What happens that ORG Hibernate criteria has been removed from the Hibernate 6, and our Spring, as we are using here right now 3.3.5, so this is Spring 6, and in Spring 6 uh, Spring ORM is still referring the ORG Hibernate criterion class, but the Hibernate has deleted this, so we got this error java.lang class not found exception. So we have two options: either we don't use the Hibernate template and use JDBC template or crude repository, or we can use the Spring file. Okay, thank you.